everyone, and welcome to Baron's Den for the next roster change video as we keep moving our way through the mixed teams. And this time it's Old World Alliance. Now, not going to talk too long for an introduction on this one. Old World Alliance coaches, if you've by some miracle not seen the leaks yet, buckle in because you're about to go on a very exciting ride. Let's get into Old World Alliance. So, starting with the Old World Human Lineman. One of the few players that actually hasn't seen any sort of increase. So it's still your typical human lineman with the basic stats, no extra skills, general agility and strength, general primary and agility and strength on secondary. So at the moment, no cause for too much excitement. It's your human player. They're fine, but they're no better or worse than they were before. Now we go to the Old World Human Thrower, and as you can see, there's no animosity on this player, and he's cheaper. Now, the other thing you could say, if he was in line with the human thrower, is that he's dropped in passing, but he hasn't actually dropped in passing because he was already passing on a 3+ anyway. So, in a sense, he's just got better because he's cheaper and he's lost animosity, whereas the human thrower didn't have animosity. It got cheaper, but unfortunately, it lost a passing stat. So another reason for humans to feel aggrieved. So that's the Old World Human Thrower. Looking pretty good. Then we've got the Catcher. So not comparing it with the current human Catcher, but if you compare this back to the Old World Catcher, it's improved in strength, it's improved in passing, it's lost animosity, and it's been reduced in cost. So there's loads of benefits there. So you're now looking at a movement 8, strength 3, ag 3+, passing 4+, armor 8+, general agility on primary, passing strength on secondary, and it's got catch and dodge with no animosity. So whether you like this player or not, you cannot deny that is a huge glow up for Old World Alliance. A bit like Underworld were benefiting from Skaven's upgrades, now Old World are benefiting from the human upgrades without taking the hit to their blitzer numbers. And talking about the blitzer, guess what? We've got the block tackle one as well, just like the humans have, at a reduced cost. So they've got cheaper than they were in Blood Bowl 2020. They've lost animosity and gained tackle. So that's just win, win, win. You only get one of them, but you only ever had one of them. So this is just buff after buff for Old World Alliance. And it doesn't stop there. We get into the Old World Dwarf Linemen. Now, Dwarf players, some of them are hating these new linemen because they've lost their block tackle, primary strength access, amazing linemen. The Old World Dwarf lineman has lost armbar and brawler and loner and gained block and defensive. It's got cheaper and it's got devious on primary, so it can do all that fouly stuff we talked about with the dwarves. It's lost agility on strength on secondary, and okay, strength has moved into secondary. But who cares when you compare, where this player was? It's just buff after buff after buff. And you get 3 of them now, not just 2. So that use of defensive could be really good on a team that does have some high strength player. The Dwarf Runner, not the most loved player, I think, on the Old World Alliance team, but it also has got better because it has also lost loner. It's lost its agility access, but don't worry, because it comes with sprint and it's cheaper than it was at 80k. So generally, it was 85 before. So generally, more buffs. Losing agility is worse on a dwarf team because that was the most agile player that the dwarves have. On this Old World team, they've got the human players that can do the agility stuff. So again, this mixed team isn't getting punished as much as the original team. And now we've got the Dwarf Blitzer. This one is more arguable because some people would argue that the loss of agility has not been good for the Dwarf Blitzer. And again, that's an easier argument to have on the Dwarf team. But again, we're talking about Old World Alliance here. And actually, you've got plenty of Edge players. You've now got a different kind of player who does something totally different with his use of tackle and diving tackle. Okay, he's only Edge 4+, but you've got other players who can get around the pitch using their agility. You can lean into the fact that it's got strength access here, so it will enable you to get guard should you wish. And obviously with the blitzers having block and the blockers having block, any team that's got good starting elite skills is good because you're not paying that tax to put them on other players then. So again, I just think this is a massive win. And again, they're using Loner. Massive win. The Troll Slayer. Another massive win because it's lost Loner again. It's got hatred on the Troll. So should you ever face a Troll, of which there's quite a few, on quite a few teams, he's re-rolling his skulls. Okay, passing 5+ and the devious secondary access aren't anything to write home about, but it doesn't matter because he's just better than he was. The Loner alone, losing that makes him loads better. The Halfling Hopeful. All right, they haven't changed much, but there's no animosity on them anymore, and you can have 5 of them. 5 of the little guys. And at 30k, that can help you to do some really interesting things with your roster. They're not as good as the Snotlings on Underworld or Goblins on some teams because they don't have that devious access. In fact, I haven't put devious as a secondary. I'll have to check that one to see whether that was a mistake or if that's genuine. If that's genuine, okay, they're not much use, but you can just have a few of them on the pitch just to have your Treeman or Ogre lob it at cages. It could be a lot of fun. So yeah, nothing but an improvement there because you can have more of them and you've lost animosity. The Ogre, the weird mutating Ogre from the human team, has cropped up here as well. I'm still confused and thinking that might be a typo, but if not, you can have a mutating Ogre if you wish, and it's Loner 3+ now, not Loner 4+. So more benefits to your OWA team. This is quite a reliable big guy now. But you know what? Not quite as reliable as this big guy because he's lost Loner altogether because the design team have decided to keep as many like-minded players the same as possible. So we're not seeing like some tree men with Loner 4+, some with 3+, some with no Loner at all. What we're seeing is the Alton Forest tree man is the one with no Loner. And that's the one that you'll see on Halflings and OWA and such. I assume the gnome one's the same as well. Whereas the Lauren Forest one is the one that's different, that has Loner. And that goes for a lot of the players. So if it's a Skaven Blitzer, it's going to be the Movement 8 strip ball one. It's not like that the Underworld team is going to have a worse version of the Blitzer that was back to Movement 7. You get what I'm trying to say. So because they've decided to do that, again, they're overpowering, I think, the OWA team. Not overpowering. They are adding a lot of power to the OWA team without really meaning to, I think. So yeah, Treeman's already a great player, and now he doesn't have Loner. Fabulous. Really, really, really good. You're sport for choice on the OWA team. So, there's still 70k rerolls, which is expensive. They can get an Apo and they're Old World Classic, but nothing really has changed in that regard. Look at the pros and cons. So there's no Loner on the team at all now. No animosity on the team at all. The Loner on its own is a huge buff. And that's before we get into everything else. Loads of the players are cheaper. Improved no Loner on big guys. So that means improved with the Ogre and then no Loner on the Tree Man. You've got extra dwarf blockers and halfling. Huge glow up on the OWA dwarf blocker and he's cheaper. Now remember, I'm talking about the difference between the OWA blocker before and the OWA blocker now. I appreciate that some people still don't think the dwarf blocker is an upgrade on the old dwarf blocker. When it comes to the OWA one, he is without a doubt better than he used to be. You've got primary access to DV skills. And then I ran out of space. There's other things we could talk about. There's just so many upsides to this OWA team. Yeah, the Dwarf Blitzer's got a few drawbacks now. It's on Agility 3+. And then I put, what are the other cons about? And I'm not... This side does have weaknesses, like all sides do. But I'm not doing pros and cons of the actual team. I'm doing pros and cons of how it's changed. And I just can't think of any more negative things that have changed about OWA since Blood Bowl 2020. So I couldn't give them anything else other than the Golden Up because it's brilliant for them. Absolutely amazing. So there we go. I've put them right to the very top. Does this mean I think they're the best team in Blood Bowl? No. Do I think they're OP? No. Not yet. Not until I've seen them in action. They might be. But they're the top of this list because they are the most improved team that I've seen. Without a doubt. They just got all the goodies. And like I said, Loner alone is going to make the OWA players just so happy. And that's just Loner. Loner and having the blockers with block, I think, are two huge things for the OWA team. So I'm really happy for those players because, you know, they started out their life, their limited short 2016 run, because I think they came out the same year as 2020, just before the Snotlings. as being quite a potent little team, and then they ripped loads of things away from them. So to see them go back to being a potent team is really, really good. I will say it like I've said it before. I wish they'd got an elf. I just feel like having an Elven Union lineman or something would have been really interesting. But I knew they weren't going to do that because there's no way of making a box with that in. I just think I basically want to do the Fellowship of the Ring, and I feel like if it's an old world collaboration, there are plenty of elves in the old world, and I think thematically it would make sense, and it would have helped them with a bit more power. But now I've seen what they've done to the team. I think adding an elf into the mix probably would have been a bit too much. So that's my only wish. My wish was them to get an elf, but they've got other things instead, so it really doesn't matter. So yeah, that's Old World Alliance. Okay, the next team we're probably going to do will be Chaos Renegades to finish off our mixed team run. And then after that, we haven't got many teams left. I think there's only maybe 6 teams left after that. And we'll have been through all of the changes to the rosters in about a week. And I'm shattered. A lot of videos to be cranking out when you're working full time. But I'm just pleased that people have been enjoying them. Please keep the likes coming. Don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you for some Chaos Renegade fun. Thank you very much. Bye for now.